Family, what's going on? It is Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. Can I get a roll tide inside the comment box? How you feeling tonight? Can I get a Ty Simpson inside the comment box? Thumbs up if you're pumped up that Ty Simpson has officially been named the starter for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Thumbs up, man. I'm happy about it. This isn't shocking news. I'm glad that it's out there officially. Let's go forward. You know, let's support this kid. Let's continue to support Austin Mack and Keelan Russell, right? It's all under the same umbrella. But you had to pick a guy. You had to pick a lane, right? You can't be double-minded in life. You can't be, especially at the quarterback position. You know, I don't want to ever hear, let's play two quarterbacks. No. This is the big leagues, all right? We're going to roll with one, and we're going to support him, all right? Ty Simpson brings a lot to this team. This isn't about entitlement. This is about somebody who's, you know, he had a battle for the job. And I think he probably pulled away, at least in my opinion. I think that he pulled away, honestly, probably during the springtime. And I look, it's not hard to piece together. I mean, Ryan Grubb, the offensive coordinator, was like, look, we had a game, it'd be Ty Simpson. It makes a lot of sense, right? Greg McElroy, right, was at the scrimmage this past Saturday. He left very impressed with Alabama overall, but specifically talking about Ty. Said he talked about delivery. He was decisive with the football. He made plays, right? That's what we want. We want somebody that can run Ryan Grubb's offense, somebody that is best suited to lead this team, not only in week one, but as we go forward with the new foundation under Coach Kalen DeBoer, right? And there's a lot to talk about with last year's quarterback. That's all gone in the past. We already put that to bed. As we go forward, we got ourselves a quarterback, and that is Ty Simpson. And that's another reason, honestly, just to be optimistic about this year. And look, I think when you look to Ty Simpson and, you know, what he brings to the table, he throws a very catchable ball, according to Coach Kalen DeBoer, right? He doesn't have to save the day, and I'm not calling him a game manager by any stretch of the imagination, but, man, when you have the weapons that Alabama has, I mean, let's roll, right? Get the ball to Ryan Williams. He's not there. Check it down to Jeremy Bernard, Isaiah Horton. You got plenty of options, right? And, of course, Jam Miller, if you saw, and I'm sure you saw from the websites you read and the YouTube channels you watch, that Jam Miller was absolutely stellar on Saturday. So I feel good, man. There's a reason to be optimistic right now, and with Ty officially being the guy. And I know if you're out there, you're like, oh, man, tell me something I didn't know. Yeah, and I think you're right, Jonah. I think he's definitely more than a game manager, 100%. Yeah. So that's good. Let me ask you this, okay? So let me just put it out there. Because you know what's crazy is we haven't had a quarterback throw for 3,000 yards in quite some time. So I'm going to set the over-under, okay, for this year for Ty Simpson. You tell me inside the comment box. You don't have to answer right now. You can answer as we go through the show. But do you think that, let's put it like this. Do you think that Ty Simpson throws for 3,200 yards this season? More, well, let's do it like this. More or less? More than 3,200 yards or less than? I think if he throws less than, things have kind of, you know, fallen off the rails or something catastrophic happened. Or there's another quarterback playing, right? But I'm gonna say, and I don't want to encourage your vote, but I think north of 3,200. That's what I'm thinking. Jarvis is saying more, over. Probably, I would imagine a lot of us going over, right? About 3,400. King Riz is saying. Let's see who's up inside the house. I know the usernames are all messed up. It's okay. We'll treat them as curveballs, and we'll knock them out the park. We'll sit back. We'll wait on them. We know what's coming. They'll reset eventually like they did last time. Scuba Steve, what's up, man? Good to see you up in the house. We got Young C. I appreciate you being here. Steve Taylor, what's up, man? Stupid Fast Racing. I like that, man. Lucas, what's up, man? Good to see you. Thanks for joining us on the show tonight. I see King's Family React. Let's see. We got Jarvis. We got Chris from New Jersey. We got Ashton Jones. We got Ryan Harris. We got King Riz, what's up, man? Ryan Harris Music, what's up, dude? I love that. Anthony Weaver, good to see you, man. Coming to us from LA. That is Lower Alabama to those of us that live in the great state of Alabama. You know, I lived here for now 10 years. This is after this year, it'd be 10, which is crazy. That's a decade, dog. West Beach is like, yo, man, we knew this for months, 100%, but we celebrate celebrations. JVH, what's up, man? Good to see you here. I appreciate you. Gerald Smith is saying, oh, I like this. Gerald Smith is also throwing on the touchdown count. So he's saying north of, I would imagine, north of 3,200, right? With 27 touchdowns. And West Beach is also in here saying Mac Jones 2.0. The crazy thing is, you know, we don't talk enough about Mac Jones that year that he had. Dude, Mac Jones was crazy in 2020. I remember, man, I was there. I was watching him in the press conference, and I'll never forget it. It was probably one of the greater sports moments that I've been here. And the guy came in, a lot of people doubting him, you know, Mac Jones, whatever. The guy came in and he literally rattled off the name and jersey number of every single player of the Missouri defense. Do you remember that? I should probably pull that clip at some point. It was, and then everybody was like, oh, snap. This dude is like business. And then that 2020 team was ferocious, right? Let me ask you this. Maybe you don't have to answer it now, but I heard something earlier today, and I'll get to the top 25 in just a minute. But I got to thinking, I saw this thing, and people talking about the Miami Hurricane team from 2001, right? Was it 2001 that they had that nasty team put together? All sorts of guys that went to the NFL. Who was a better team? Was that team a better team than 2020 Alabama? Because some people even throw in like 2019 LSU. Now, that's a whole different show category, but I got to thinking, I was like, damn, that's how good, in my opinion, 2020 was for Alabama. Unfortunately, not a lot of people got to see it because there was limited seating during that crazy year, right? What a wild year that we lived through. Man, I'm so happy to be the hell out of that. That was crazy. All right, so Ty Simpson, the starter. And that's where we're at. I love it. I'm happy for him. I'm happy for the team. Clearly, this isn't like overly shocking news if you're close to the Alabama ecosystem, but there's people that don't follow the team as closely. They might, you know, start to be watching their shows now as we get closer to the actual game. So whatever. Tell your friends tomorrow that Ty Simpson is a starter. And I think it was the Tuscaloosa News who like officially broke it, but I think everybody, you know, kind of knows, right? I don't think anyone was like completely shocked. All right, today's goal. So tonight, our goal is 10 Super Chats. Can we hit it? Will somebody count it, please? 10 Super Chats. That is our goal tonight. And as you know, if you want to get into the raffle for the jersey that we are rolling out, the pin will be spun on Wednesday. $10 to get in. Super Chats will get you in the door, too. All right, $10 to get in for Alabama football jersey. You tell me who you want. Ryan Williams, Ty Simpson, the starting quarterback at Alabama. You know, maybe go with the Jam Miller. I don't know. You go with a Bray Hubbard. It's up to you. So get in where you fit in. A little too short for you. Venmo, Bama _ YouTube, Cash App, Bama YouTube. Do we have any Too Short fans out here? I lived on the West Coast, man. I grew up with West Coast rap, but I also loved, you know, if you know me, you know I'm a music head. So I could go like Too Short, I could go Outkast, but it was crazy because I also grew up singing country. Garth Brooks, George Strait, huge Morgan Wallen guy, like, you know, so Chris Stapleton. You kick it with me, we'll listen to beats for sure. We might even go like just funk. All right, so the AP Top 25 came out. You got Texas on top, and you got Boise State checking in at 25. Was there any like surprises as we look to the top? Let's just look at the top 5 right here, right? The top 5, okay? Texas, Penn State, Ohio State, Clemson, and Georgia. I think you know what is a little bit weird to me? I might be the only, I'm not like a national guy. The freaky tales, man. You can't play that on YouTube, man. We'll be blocked. You know what was crazy, though? Is Penn State, man. People are all bought in on Penn State and on Clemson. And I don't know if I've drank too much Crimson Tide. You know, I'd have to go see Josh Pate's poll, and that's a good thing. You know, I'd have to go see where he has the teams. I don't know about Penn State, man. And the thing about it is it might not be so much a talent thing as opposed to like James Franklin, in my opinion, doesn't have a history of winning big games. I actually don't mind listening to him. And I think he has, some good points when he's on the podium. But I don't know. I wouldn't drink anything that had Penn State in it. Same thing with, and I know we're not there yet, but like with Notre Dame, I would never drink any of that. And I love their coach. I just don't think that those teams perform at the highest level at the end of the day. Plus, I don't think they played the schedule that, is suitable to really even have. I don't think that their schedule does them justice as we get going forward. That's just my opinion. Now, Clemson, look, I probably would have went Texas, Ohio State. There's no way in hell that Penn State beats Ohio State this year. I just don't think that they will. I bet on that game right now. I don't think they will. They might even be favored. I don't know. Last year, weren't they up by like 10 points? People talking about Clemson. All right. Clemson, a hell of a quarterback coming in. Two of the best defensive linemen, probably, right? But man, where would they be in the SEC? Let me ask you this. Just think about this. You don't have to answer this, but I brought up the top 25, so I want to talk about it for a second. Man, honestly, you think Clemson, if Clemson jumped in, listen, this is important. I'm going to turn the music down. Whoosh. Listen to this. Take your Alabama hat off, all right? I'm not going to take mine off because this is tight. But you're telling me that if Clemson joined the SEC, okay, if they jumped in somehow, they merged in, you're telling me that they would finish second in the SEC? Playing a gauntlet of a schedule, not an ACC schedule, an SEC schedule. I'll bring up their schedule right now. You want to see their schedule? Who wants to see Clemson's schedule? I'll pull it up right now. All right, let's see. Clemson football schedule, 2025. Okay, let's just see their schedule. All right. Look, I'll throw it up on the screen. This is their schedule, all right, the Clemson. And then look, I'm not doubting them from like a talent standpoint. I like Dabo Swinney. I just don't buy anything from the ACC. I never have. I never will. These aren't teams like from Clemson of the past, right? Let's look at this, all right? LSU in the opener. They probably win that game. The game is in Clemson. LSU underperforms in week 1. Kind of the same story. It'll be a hell of a game. I'll be watching that 100%. Troy, okay. Georgia Tech's good. We like Brent Key. We respect him. He's good. They'll win that game, though, okay? So right now they're probably sitting at, 3-0, depending on what happens in week 1. They got Syracuse. Sometimes Syracuse can punch you, right? Whatever. North Carolina, I don't know what Bill Belichick's going to do. Do you? That might be really good. Who knows? I have no idea. Boston College with Bill O'Brien. Man, they're starting to get some celebrity coaches in the ACC, right? And you heard Jimbo Fisher. I think he wants to jump in too. Where would Jimbo fit, right? Doesn't he want to come back and coach? And so does John Gruden, I think. Go to the ACC. They're kind of loading up on personalities. All right, SMU, I don't think that they're going to be as good as last year. Maybe I'm wrong. They kind of sliced through the ACC last year. They'll beat Duke. Who's going to beat them on the schedule? I mean, they'll drop a game. And then look at this. Look at this at the end. The only team that really on this backside that could beat them is from the SEC. So the two teams, this is what my point is with Clemson. The two teams that they could lose to are from the SEC. The first game of the season, they got that game at home. And then the last game of the season where they have to travel on the road to play South Carolina. So, I mean, it doesn't seem like an overly challenging schedule to me. Are they a good football team? Yeah. They're a really good football team, but I don't know if they're like, top 5. But I would imagine that, they kind of have their way in the ACC. I'd be shocked if it's not them at the end of the day. Ohio State will be there. And you know what? I was talking to an Ohio State fan this morning during my workout, and he was saying that Julian Sain hasn't officially clinched the job yet, but I don't think it matters. I think, they have so much arsenal that I think they're going to do a lot of damage. Their schedule is very light, just like Penn State's light. You want to see? Let me show you Penn State's schedule real quick. I like showing schedules. Do you guys like seeing schedules? Thumbs up inside the comment box if you do. If not, I'll just talk about the team and just, kind of put it into perspective. But I think once you see Penn State's schedule right here, it's rather interesting. I mean, and I'm always comparing it to who Alabama plays, or like, relative to like SEC football, right? Okay, so this is Penn State this season. Let me know what you think. Honestly, do you think this is a challenging schedule? We're talking Penn State. Let me know if you think it's hard, if it's light. Just yes, it's hard. No, it's easy. Okay? Or you could, if you're real fancy, you could put a cupcake inside the emoji box or the comment box. Okay? Okay, Nevada. They beat Nevada. Okay, Florida International. Villanova? Man, oh my God. They're playing Villanova. Okay, you got Oregon. The game is at home. That's going to be one hell of a game, of course. Dan Lanning, James Franklin, must-see TV. UCLA, they'll win that game. That'll be interesting because, quarterbacks, whatever. Northwestern, they'll win. Iowa, who knows? They'll win that game, but, sometimes Iowa can upset you. The game is in Iowa City. By the way, does anybody know the city I used to live in Iowa? That's your trivia. Where did I used to live in Iowa? I think I've asked this before. Look, Iowa was great to me. I have friends still there. Mark Mills, he drives a combine tractor. Eddie Moore Jr., Dr. Eddie Moore Jr., who was amazing to me. But Iowa was not for me. But I love the people. You know what I'm saying? It's just like some places just aren't for you in life, and that wasn't for me. They play at Ohio State, and you're telling there's no way that they win that game. 0. Okay, then they play Indiana, Michigan State, Nebraska. This isn't a hard schedule, is it? Where are the hard games? Oregon's hard, in Ohio State, and I don't know. I guess like Indiana. I guess that's not a hard schedule. Maybe I'm tripping. I don't know. I just don't think that that's a hard schedule at all. Look, all right. Yeah, I agree. Brandon inside the comment box says schedules matters. 1,000,000%, dog. 1,000,000%. All right. All right. So let me ask you about Georgia's quarterback, Gunnar Stockton. Okay. And look, Alabama channel, we understand, that Georgia, is a rival and all that stuff. But how good do you think that Gunnar Stockton could be this year on a scale of 1 to 10? I'm talking Georgia right here, number 5. Do you think he could be 10, like one of the top quarterbacks in the entire land? Do you think kind of that 8 range? You don't know. He's got, some weapons. Zachariah Branch is pretty damn good. This is the first year that they at least got a wide receiver that I think I'm excited to talk about. Or do you think he's kind of like that 5 to 6.5 range, kind of mid? I like to call it as I see it, okay? You know that about me. I don't think that he is going to be ultra dynamic. I probably have him like in that 6.5. I'd be shocked if he's like a 7 for Gunnar Stockton. Am I wrong? Like, I'd be curious. Sometimes we have a couple Georgia fans trickle in. I don't know, man. Like, I would be shocked. I mean, Kimberly's saying 8.5. I've seen some high ratings for him. Okay. Maybe we haven't seen enough about him. Maybe they're saying the same thing about Ty Simpson. I don't know. Okay. So anyways, Georgia at 5. That's fair. I think, I'm not mad about their ranking. I'm not mad really about anyone's. I just thought that, wow, I'm kind of surprised to see Ohio State underneath Penn State. I probably would have had it Texas, Ohio State, Georgia, Clemson, Penn State. Then I'd go Oregon, Bama, Notre Dame. So now I'm talking about 6 through 10, okay? Team 6 through 10. Is there anybody buying that Notre Dame can make another run? Anybody think that Notre Dame is going to be absolutely stellar this year? I personally don't. Let's look at their football schedule. Notre Dame football schedule 2025. And the thing about it that drives me crazy is this team does not play by the same rules as anybody because they're independent. That's why I've never understood, like, why doesn't Alabama just bounce out, become independent based on the playoff rules, still collect money through, like, an NBC contract, and then just play the hell, like, whoever they want? I mean, they're playing at Miami. Okay. Yeah. I mean, you're on the road against Miami. That'll be a good game. You're playing Texas A&M. But then you kind of like dip off here, right? I'm talking, this is Notre Dame's schedule this year. You got Purdue. You got Arkansas. You got Boise State. You got NC State. You got USC. I mean, there's some games on here, but it's not like overly challenging. At Boston College, Navy, Pitt, Syracuse, Stanford. I don't know, right? Like, anybody think that Notre Dame gets hot again? Maybe with the schedule like this, if they win these first two games, I don't know if they'll beat Tech. Well, the game is at South Bend. If they win this game right here, I don't know who else beats them. Maybe USC. Sometimes that's a weird rivalry game. I don't know. That schedule. Where's the cupcake emoji? Oh, they got Boise State, but Boise State goes there again. Wow, are all their games at home? Where are they going? Okay. Huh. All right, so yeah. Oh, yeah, I forgot Eli Holsting's up there at Pittsburgh. That's what's up, man. He's pretty good. Who else we got? Okay, Oregon. I think Oregon will be there. New quarterback. Should be pretty good. Oregon's kind of, a team right now. We get that. You want to see a light schedule? Check this out. Look at Oregon's schedule. You're going to freak out. This one's going to make you really mad. I'm telling you. These schedules. All right. Here's Oregon's schedule. Look at this. Looky. Eyes up. This is Oregon's football schedule. Montana State. Oklahoma State. Northwestern. Oregon State. They go to Penn State. Indiana. Rutgers, Wisconsin, Iowa, Minnesota, USC, Washington. Oregon, you have punched a playoff ticket before the season has started. This is Oregon's schedule. Who's beating Oregon on this schedule? Seriously, I'm like dead serious. I think they might be undefeated, right? Are they? I mean, unless things go really, who knows with this game? Two quality teams. But this is, are any of these other teams going to beat them? I don't think so. It would be a major upset. I always look at kind of USC and the coach that they have, and different players that they have, but they've been really underperforming. Is there anyone else that beats them? I don't think so. So I would imagine Oregon is like undefeated for sure. Okay, you got Bama. Let me ask you about Bama being 8. How you guys feel? Thumbs up if you feel that that's a good placement for Alabama. Thumbs up inside the comment box. I think it's a wonderful place for Alabama, to be honest. I really do. I think it's the perfect amount of like reverse rat poison. They were never going to be outside of the top 10, right? That's just unrealistic. Specifically because of all the defensive returners and the weapons that you have on offense, whatever. But I think it's a good place for Alabama. I probably, honestly, like if I had an AP ranking, I'd probably put them at 8. Now, it's hard for me to like I wouldn't put Notre Dame over Alabama, so maybe I'd have them like 7 or whatever. But I like that. I think it's the perfect amount of rat poison. I think it provides a sense of reality for the team. And it's like, look, you are no longer a preseason top 5 team. Okay? People don't view you the same. People view you beatable. People, understand kind of the brand, but people feel that they could punch you in the mouth. People feel that they can knock you on the ground. And that's what I'm telling the team, and to get them fired up, right? Because 8, isn't it the lowest ranking that Alabama's been in like so many years or something like that? But I like it. It's good reverse rat poison, But I think it does paint a picture, and it should, to the team and to the coaches. It's like, look, people don't view you the same. We don't. And we're optimistic because we follow the team. We know all the players. We know the too deep. We know what's coming and what these guys are capable of. And we know the type of, the stuff that these guys went through in year one to get to where they're at right now. But I think the rest of the world in college football, I honestly, like if we were doing like a national show, I think the rest of the college football world, and I'll go through the teams. I think like an Oregon, a Clemson, an Arizona State, a South Carolina, a Michigan, a Florida, an Oklahoma. There's too many teams on this board that feel that they can punch Alabama in the mouth. 1,000,000%. I mean, look at it. How many teams from this middle column beat Alabama last year? South Carolina almost did if they would have had a little bit more time. Michigan did. Oklahoma did. So those teams, that's what they're living off of. They're like, we can still beat Alabama because they're no longer the same. So I think that provides the exact amount of rat poison for these guys, kind of the catalyst to really lay the law down in week one against Florida State. By the way, I saw Florida State. They did get some points over here in this column. So let's call Florida State like, I don't know, ranked number like 35 or whatever. Okay. I think J.D. Piquel, who I think does a really good job, right? I think he picked LSU to win the title, if I'm not mistaken, right? He came out with like his predictions. Who thinks that, I mean, is there anyone out here like, okay, we're all going to pick Alabama to win the SEC title game. I get it. It's an Alabama channel. But like, is there anyone inside this comment box that thinks that Alabama is going to play LSU for the SEC title? Does anybody think that LSU is going to be that good? I get it, man. Like Harold Perkins, dog, right? One of the best. Garrett Nussmeier should be really good. But again, kind of the same thing with Penn State. I don't kind of buy the top end coaching that can kind of take them where they need to go. I get it. Ryan Day is a polarizing figure. Yo, he gets his team up there. He wins. Steve Sarkisian, I believe in him. They got a lot going on in Texas, man. I'm surprised that they haven't won before. And there's a lot of pressure. Look, he's going to be there as long as he wants to be, but there's pressure on Steve Sarkisian. They think Texas right now is booming. They got the money, they got the players, they got Arch Manning. Like this is it. They should be number one. The target is on their back, 1,000,000%. And I agree with you, Dan, inside the comment box. It does seem like Perkins is a little bit banged up, more than not. But they got teams, man. They got guys. They got players for sure, 100%. Okay, Miami, we've been there before. Is anybody, Carson back in Miami, do you think that he really resurrects the Hurricanes? We like their coach. Last year they had a really good quarterback. But they didn't really have the defense to kind of jump into that elite category, right? So I don't know. I'm not really buying Miami. And that's not because of Bama hater inside the comment box. That's just, I don't, how I feel about teams from the ACC. All right. We have a request. You on the request line. What was that from? Remember that thing that came out? The request line? All right. Somebody asked for LSU's football schedule. So, look, you guys ask, I want to give you what you want to see. That's it. That's that, man. A door will never open for you if you do not knock. Okay? Write that down, young kids. All right? Say it with me. You don't knock on the door, it's not going to open. All right. This is LSU. All right. So we got Clemson on the road. One hell of a game. That opening week of college football is stellar, right? LSU, they've lost a couple openers. I don't know. I think Clemson is like 4.5 favorite in this game. I don't know. I think coin flip this game. I'm going to be watching this. We'll be watching this together. All right. Maybe I'll even have an old fashioned. I don't know. Put that on the maybe list. Does anybody, if you're old enough, does anybody like old fashions? I'm not trying to make anyone crash out. Trust me. I got guardrails. I got kids. And by the way, before I jumped on, man, you should see these enchiladas that we made tonight. Oh my goodness, man. I can't, the show, man. We're rolling, but I had a little bite of the chicken enchiladas. Man, they were good. Damn. Crispity crunch. All right, Louisiana Tech, Florida. That's a tough game. Southeast Louisiana at Ole Miss. That game's probably gonna be what, like 85? Remember when they played and it was like 77-50 or whatever? That was crazy. Actually, they got some teams on here. South Carolina. Look, Clemson. Let's just say this, all right? Let's just say they lose to Clemson, okay? And then somehow Billy Napier continues to be pissed off like he was at the back end of this year, and he goes over and he B2A on Brian Kelly. And then what if Lane Kiffin jumps in the deck and he body slams Brian Kelly too? Look, and then what if Shane Beamer is like, yo, I can party too? So, and then what if Diego Pavia? No, I'm serious, dude. Look at this schedule. Yeesh. Man, Clemson, Florida. Look at the quarterbacks you're playing. Right? Klubnik, Lagway, Simmons, Sellers, Costanza. Just kidding. Pavia. Remember? Does anybody know Costanza? Can't stand you. All right. Texas A&M. Their quarterback could be sneaky good too. He's fast as hell. Bama. Yo, LSU is gonna. JD picked. Yo, I like JD. I think he's a really hard worker. I think he's really good at his craft. I don't know. This team is going to lose games. This is a hard schedule. Is it not? Am I tripping? Am I not buying enough like LSU? I don't know. This is a hard-ass schedule. I can't believe he was man enough to pick these dudes to run through it. Shoot, man. I don't even know if these guys make the playoffs. That would be my prediction. Okay, let me just read off the quarterbacks one more time, okay? Klubnik, baller. Lagway, baller. Simmons, baller. Sellers, baller. Diego Pavia, wrestler. I'm gonna get my ass body slammed, huh? Texas A&M, their quarterback pretty good. Ty Simpson, baller. Arkansas, I don't know. John Mateer, Oklahoma. Yo, damn, dude, this is a hard schedule. Really hard. I don't know where this team goes. Who asked to see the schedule? Raise your hand inside the comment box. That was a good one. I think it was John Cofield. Was it you, John? Damn, dog. I didn't know it was like that. Man. Okay. Yeah. So I didn't know LSU's schedule was that difficult. Who knows? But that was hard. No, Cedar Rapids. No, I lived in Pella. Pella was the answer that we're looking for. Cedar Rapids. Man, living in Iowa is crazy. It's south of Des Moines, and it's right next to Lake Red Rock. And this wind would whip through when I lived in Iowa off Lake Red Rock and just ice over the city. I'm telling you, man, your car you had to have this thing where you plug it in so your car would start. It was wild. Coldest place I ever been. Penguins walking around and stuff. All right, let's see. Let's just kind of taste this middle area real quick. All right, Arizona State, really good quarterback. I love their coach. Illinois, I like South Carolina, probably too much. I feel like I'm one of the only guys that talks about South Carolina out there. I just thought they were really good. Michigan, I mean, they beat Bama last year, but I don't know. It seems to me like Michigan, which is crazy to say because they just beat Bama. But I think Michigan kind of is starting to trend like the opposite way, despite, the pieces that they have. Shoot, man, Justice Haynes. Have we heard an update on Justice Haynes? Is he like their starting running back? Is he like the guy? How's he doing? Could somebody check in on Justice Haynes? Is he doing okay? You know what's crazy about Bryce Underwood, because, you know, I streamed the video game too. In year 2, he was in the transfer portal. And guess where he wanted to come? He wanted to come to Bama. But I passed on him. I didn't want that drama. So, because, you know, I'm rolling with Keelan. And I got Air Nolan as my backup. But I didn't want Bryce Underwood. I didn't want to have to answer questions to the media about why Underwood was on the bench. Now, I haven't heard anything on Justice Haynes. Not that I, like, check up, like, Michigan stuff, but I'm just curious. Right? Dan's like, Justice who? And the crazy thing about Justice Haynes, man, is I don't even know what would happen to him right now on the depth chart. And look, and it's crazy to think about it, man, because this was an elite prospect, still is, right? I don't know where he's at in Michigan, if he's like the guy or whatever. But look at the running back room here at Alabama. That's why the grass is not always greener, and you're not instantly going to play or be like an impact guy. Man, Alabama, it is crazy. That running back room right now is ferocious. Ferocious. Josh, what's up, dog? Good to see you, man. I agree. John Mateer is a dog. Yeah, and Ty is a starter. So if you missed it, that was kind of like the big news of the night, was that Ty Simpson was officially named the starter. So, yeah. He was told, I guess, the team was told after practice or like today during a meeting that Ty is the starter. So we covered that kind of on the opener. It's not shocking content. It's just like, it is what it is. Yeah, Dan's like, Justice be running back 5. I don't know about that. Maybe he'd be like 4. But point is, Richard Young, it's time for him to eat. It's time for Jam Miller to, you know, eat more. And Daniel Hill. Did anybody watch my stream last night? Daniel Hill ran for 260 with me. Yes, yeah. And Jay Williams, this is a good question, asked about, so Roydell Williams is the starting running back at Florida State. He's 220 pounds. So I've been keeping up with Florida State. I like War Chant. They have a really good brand, really good website. I'd recommend to go. You can watch their videos and, you know, their shows and stuff like that. They do an amazing job. But, yeah, Roydell Williams is their running back. He's 220 pounds. I love Roydell Williams. It was time for him to leave, right? But he's a guy for sure. And for those asking about the hat, it's called Down South Headwear. It's on Facebook. The poor guy is trying to get him off the ground. And, you know, he hasn't been able to find anybody that can print them for him, right? So, like, his cost right now, because I was talking to him, and, man, like, the price, I think it's like $40. So he's having to charge, like, super high to even make, like, $10. So, unfortunately, I don't think he's found a specific, you know, I was like, can you, you know, I was trying to help him out with, I don't really know anybody that prints, but because I know this hat would go off for him. He's a roofer that lives in, I think, in Mississippi. He's an Alabama fan. So, because I know people have been asking about the hat. All right, where were we? Let's see. South Carolina, I think they'll be good. Florida, look, we thought, raise your hand inside the comment box if you thought that Billy Napier would be fired after last season. I did. That schedule was crazy. They played every top 10 team in like the last 6 games, and he battled. And he coached his you-know-what off, and, here's Florida, and here's Billy Napier. I thought he was going to get fired, 100%. I was even in the preseason. I was like, yeah, he's going to get fired. Billy Napier, Florida. No, I was like, that dude, that was like the comeback coaching of like, that was epic. That was a hard-ass schedule. All right, Kansas State, SMU. You know what? This Oklahoma team, they probably a little low. I mean, obviously, you know what happened last year over in Norman. The crazy thing is, Brett Venables actually has a much better quarterback this year than he did last year. Now, I think last year was more about scheming and taking advantage of Alabama's, soft underbelly. But this John Mateer, man, I don't know what type of wide receivers they have at Oklahoma. Oklahoma usually has some guys, right, at the wide receiver position. if this John Mateer is as good as we think he's going to be, and look it up. I've saw a couple highlights of him in the preseason. Yo, call me crazy, but I think that and as soon as he went to the transfer, I promise you this, as soon as he went to the transfer portal from Washington State, I was like, whoever ends up with that guy, he's going to be the starter. I don't know if there was any contact between John Mateer and Alabama. Probably not. Look, this might upset people, but man, John Mateer probably starts anywhere in college football right now. That's how much of a dog I'm telling you, that guy is good. If things go well and they can scheme around him. Okay, yeah, I didn't know that, Ryan. So look, look, the king of college football says it too. Josh Payton, I'm serious, man. Watch him at Washington State. I watched 1 minute of his highlight tape, and I was like, oh my God. I was like, this dude is it. For sure. Now, look, Jackson Arnold is going to elevate for Auburn, and I think they'll be able to utilize him effectively. Hopefully not the same way that, what Brent Venables did last year, but probably the same, to be honest. But Mateer's a guy for sure, man. 100%. I don't know what Indiana has coming back. Last year kind of seemed like, that was a special year for them. I never really took them serious, to be honest. But that's just me. People don't talk about Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin. Austin Simmons, I think, will be a really good quarterback. I really do. They got some wide receivers. I'm kind of, this might be another sleeper team to watch. Iowa State, Texas Tech. Texas Tech has some guys. Tennessee, we'll see how, Joey Aguilar does as quarterback, and then Boise State's kind of, always that, team that seems to kind of be floating around. Probably a playoff team, either them or UNLV. Is UNLV ranked? Yeah, UNLV's in there somewhere. So I would imagine like UNLV maybe leapfrogs by the end of the season, and that's one of your playoff teams. I don't know. But overall, it's fun to look at the top 25. I guess, Texas, Ohio State, Georgia, Clemson, Penn State, or Oregon, Penn State, Bama, something like that. I think it's a good spot for Alabama. And like I said, I think the sleeper teams in that middle column are South Carolina, I guess Florida, Oklahoma, and maybe watch for Ole Miss. Is there anyone worth watching in this little box over here? Not really. Wow, Colorado's way down there. Florida State's right there. I don't. Man, isn't it crazy? Listen, how much longer do you think USC will keep their head football coach? I'm serious, because I kind of look at USC, right? And I'm like, what's going on with Lincoln Riley? Like, why can he not? Like, to me, USC, with the amount of talent that's out there and the brand and everything that they have out there, is like, it's him, right? I mean, look at this. So at Oklahoma, it was 55-10. Yeah. But USC, look, 11-3. But since then, let's look at the last couple years, right? 8-5, 7-6. I mean, they need a big year right here from this guy. I've just always thought, I was like, USC, man, because they got the recruits. It's, it's Cali, it's Los Angeles. I used to go there all the time. Remember, I lived in Los Angeles. And I kind of feel like football is a little bit more exciting when USC is like really good. I don't know if it's like nostalgia or whatever. But, man, they're like an afterthought. Damn, 7-6, 8-5? Ugh, yuck. Man, look at that Oklahoma. Damn. But a lot of L's in the bowls. You can't lose in the bowls, right? All right. So, yeah, man. So that's where we're at. So big news today, tonight, as Ty Simpson is officially named the starter. Definitely go support him. And, that means to support, like, the team. You don't have to be like, yeah, I'm against Keelan Russell. I'm like, no. Like, support the players. And I've actually heard that Ty, Keelan, and Austin are, like, super, super close. Like, best friends that ever could be. So Good to hear it. Love the chemistry. Love that there's finally, like, we can refer to him as a starter rather than just, like, if there was a game Saturday. It's like, just name him the damn starter already. God, come on. I'm happy for him. And it'll be a fun story to track. So I appreciate you guys rocking with me tonight. I'm going to get to those chicken enchiladas that I got downstairs. And I hope you guys have a wonderful night. And I'll catch you guys tomorrow at 10 a.m. Central Time right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Remember, there is still time to get into the raffle, which is Alabama jersey. Got Ryan Williams, got Ty Simpson, Bray Hubbard, whoever you want. The best way to get into the raffle, Bama_YouTube, Cash App, Bama YouTube, Super Chats work as well. I hope you guys like the content. Look, I'm myself. Like, this is who I am. You kick it with me on the golf course. You hang out with me. Like, this is who I am. And, like, every single show is right from my heart. So I appreciate you guys. And thanks for kicking it with me tonight. Yo, quick question. Who's your Heisman watchers? You know, I mean, obviously, you know, Pate said, you know, Mateer is up there clearly. I had to think about it a little bit more. You know, I don't know. I saw earlier today, because I was looking at the Heisman rankings. I'll bring it up. You want a question? I got you. But I was looking, and I'll bring it up on the other side, kind of the Heisman favorites real quick. Here it is right here, because I was just looking at it today. So, like, here's some favorites. Arch Manning, right, quarterback award. Cade Klubnik, Clemson. Garrett Nussmeier, no. Jeremiah Smith, maybe, depending on how he could get the football. You know, a name that's not on here is Ryan Williams. Depending on how they utilize Ryan Williams in this particular offense, that might be some good value, right? You could throw it down, because once he starts heating up, his value will go through the roof, and you won't be able to, it'll make no sense, right? So I don't know where he's at right now, if he's like plus 4,000 or whatever, but if you want, you know, some value, now is your time in the preseason for somebody like Ryan Williams. You see Ty Simpson right here with plus 1,600. That's not bad. You have to have an absolutely stellar year, and there's a lot of different weapons, but I don't know. But Ryan Williams, in terms of value, that might be one to watch for. So anyways, I appreciate you guys kicking it with me as always. That was fun. You can follow me on Instagram if you want. That's my handle. I don't really post much other than like my kids or, you know, little workout stuff. Sometimes I get, you know how I get motivational sometimes. All right, man. Take it easy. Be good. Enjoy your life. Get some rest. Say prayers. Be grateful for your blessings, big or small. Be grateful for this opportunity that you have to be here, and be good people. And I'll catch up with you as news happens right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama on Monday, August 11th. Kyle Henderson, Bama Football on YouTube. See you, fam.
Bama Football on YouTube with 114,000 subscribers is the largest Alabama football YouTube channel on the internet. You roll tide inside the comment box. Catch you tomorrow at 10 a.m. Central Time right here on Bama Football on YouTube.